Esa proclama es patria o muerte.
I hope you all have seen this video in your life and wonder, who is this guy? Where is he from? Hello and welcome. Today we are going to learn about Che Guevara. He was an Argentine Marxist revolutionary, physician, author, guerrilla leader, diplomat, and military theorist. A major figure of the Cuban Revolution, his stylized visage has become a ubiquitous countercultural symbol of rebellion and global insignia in popular culture. Ernesto Che Guevara was born on June 14, 1928, in Rosario, Argentina. He was born into a middle-class family and was the first of 5 children. Che Guevara was born to parents of Spanish and Irish descent. His full name was Ernesto Guevara de la Serna. His family was relatively well off, and he grew up in a comfortable environment. He was known for his inquisitive and intellectual nature from a young age. Che Guevara enrolled at the University of Buenos Aires in 1948 to study medicine. During his time at the university, he developed an interest in Marxism and began to engage in political discussions and activities. In 1951, while still a medical student, Guevara embarked on a transformative journey across South America on a motorcycle, along with his friend Alberto Granado. The journey exposed him to the poverty, inequality, and social injustices prevalent in many parts of the continent. This experience had a profound impact on his political awakening and desire for social change. While studying medicine at the University of Buenos Aires, Che Guevara became exposed to Marxist and leftist ideas. He was influenced by Marxist literature and discussions with like-minded individuals at the university, which contributed to his political awakening. Guevara's travels led him to develop a strong sense of social justice and anti-imperialism. He was deeply critical of the influence of the United States in Latin America and the oppression faced by marginalized communities. These experiences radicalized him and fueled his desire to bring about revolutionary change. After returning to Argentina, Guevara became involved in leftist political activities. He joined various anti-imperialist and pro-worker movements and continued to educate himself about revolutionary theory. He also participated in labor strikes and demonstrations. Now let's talk about the person from which Guevara's revolutionary activities started: Fidel Castro. In 1955, while in Mexico, Guevara met Fidel and Raúl Castro, who were planning a revolutionary movement to overthrow the Cuban dictator Fulgencio Batista. Guevara joined their cause and played a central role in the Cuban Revolution. The core of the revolution against Batista was a guerrilla warfare campaign initiated by Fidel Castro, his brother Raúl Castro, and other revolutionary leaders. In December 1956, they, along with a group of around 80 fighters, including Che Guevara, landed in Cuba's Sierra Maestra Mountains. From there, they launched a guerrilla insurgency against the Batista regime. The revolution gained popular support from various sectors of Cuban society, including students, peasants, and workers, who were disillusioned with Batista's regime. One of the decisive moments in the revolution occurred in December 1958, when Che Guevara and his column captured the city of Santa Clara in central Cuba. This victory disrupted Batista's control over the country and marked a turning point in the conflict. While the guerrillas operated in the mountains, there were also urban uprisings in various cities, including Havana. These uprisings, along with the pressure from the guerrilla warfare, further weakened Batista's hold on power. On the night of December 31, 1958, Batista fled Cuba, leaving a power vacuum that the revolutionary forces, including Che Guevara and Fidel Castro, were quick to fill. With Batista's departure, Fidel Castro and his forces, including Che Guevara, entered Havana on January 1, 1959, marking the triumph of the Cuban Revolution. Fidel Castro became the Prime Minister of Cuba, and the revolutionaries initiated a series of social and economic reforms. After the victory of the Cuban Revolution, Che Guevara held several key government positions in Fidel Castro's administration. He was initially appointed as the president of the National Bank of Cuba in 1959. Che Guevara also played a role in the Cuban literacy campaign, which aimed to eradicate illiteracy in Cuba. He was an advocate for education and supported efforts to increase literacy rates across the country. Guevara represented Cuba on the international stage and engaged in diplomatic missions. He supported revolutionary movements in various countries and promoted Cuban solidarity with other nations seeking independence from imperialist powers. In 1965, Che Guevara resigned from his government positions in Cuba. He expressed his intention to continue his revolutionary activities elsewhere and pursued his vision of exporting the Cuban Revolution to other parts of the world. The Congo was experiencing a period of political turmoil and conflict following its independence from Belgium in 1960. Various Congolese factions were vying for power, and the country was embroiled in a complex and volatile situation. Guevara's initial mission in the Congo was to provide assistance to the forces of Patrice Lumumba, the Congolese prime minister who had been ousted and eventually killed under murky circumstances. Guevara sympathized with Lumumba's anti-imperialist stance and sought to aid his supporters. Guevara's time in the Congo was marked by numerous challenges, including logistical difficulties, differences in strategy and ideology with local rebel leaders, and a lack of local support. After several months of trying to rally support and lead rebel forces, Che Guevara's efforts in the Congo proved unsuccessful. He left the country in late 1965. Che Guevara arrived in Bolivia in November 1966 under the alias of Adolfo Mena Gonzalez. He chose Bolivia as the next location for his revolutionary efforts due to its strategic location in South America and its history of social unrest. Guevara's plan was to establish a revolutionary guerrilla movement in Bolivia, which he believed could serve as a focal point for other Latin American revolutionaries. He was joined by a small group of Cuban and Bolivian revolutionaries. In March 1967, Guevara's group engaged in a significant battle with Bolivian government forces in the area of Santa Cruz. This encounter was one of the key military engagements of the campaign. Guevara and his fighters were largely isolated from international support, unlike in Cuba, where they had received backing from the Soviet Union. Their isolation made it challenging to acquire weapons and other supplies. The Bolivian government, with the assistance of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, intensified its efforts to locate and capture Guevara. The Bolivian military was able to close in on his location. Che Guevara and his remaining fighters, who had been conducting guerrilla operations in the rugged terrain of Bolivia, found themselves increasingly isolated and pursued by the Bolivian military. The Bolivian government, under President René Barrientos, was determined to eliminate the guerrilla group. On October 8, 1967, a significant clash occurred between Che's small band of fighters and a larger contingent of Bolivian troops in the area of La Higuera, a small village in the Bolivian jungle. During the battle, Guevara and his men were outnumbered and running low on ammunition. Che Guevara was wounded during the battle and was taken prisoner by the Bolivian military. He was captured alive and transported to a local school in La Higuera, where he was held in custody. On the morning of October 9, 1967, Che Guevara was executed by a Bolivian soldier under the orders of Bolivian officers. He was shot and killed in the schoolhouse in La Higuera. Guevara's body was taken to a nearby Valle Grande hospital, where it was put on display for identification. His body was later buried in a secret location. In 1997, Che Guevara's remains were discovered in Bolivia, and they were subsequently exhumed and returned to Cuba. He was reburied in a mausoleum in Santa Clara. So, what do you think about Che Guevara? Was he fascist? Let us know in comment section. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel